Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. And, well, hopefully this is the last video in my car I make in a while, but I got around to seeing Halloween Ends tonight. It wasn't at the exact time that I had planned, because you know what? I need to sleep after work. And I got work at 3 in the morning tomorrow, so screw it. I'm doing this review now. And before I get into my thoughts on Halloween Ends, just a heads up to you guys, this video is going to have a lot of spoilers. I'm going to go through almost the entire plot, because you know what? This film was just a massive disappointment. I just don't give a shit. So if you guys really want to see this movie, then I advise you to go watch it first before watching my video. So I don't know, I guess, God, I'm trying to think of where to even start on this. Like, I mean, I did not like this film. I don't, like, and I'm gonna make this the title of the video, that, like, this movie was not Halloween. It wasn't. It was CW Fanfiction that had Michael Myers as a guest star. And you guys are gonna find out real freaking soon what that means. So, the movie is not a Michael Myers movie. It's not even a Laurie Strode movie. The movie's focus is this kid named Corey Cunningham, who, weirdly enough, looks like me, with like all my facial hair and like the glasses. Like he looks like I do, which I didn't really realize until I walked out of the theater with my friend. Which, if you guys remember, back when I made that review for the movie Pearl, that one friend of mine, Horror Aesthetics, she and I saw the film, like, and we were literally like 2 seats away from each other. Well, tonight she and I actually planned on seeing the movie together, so I at least have some comfort in the fact that she didn't like the movie either. She's gonna post her own review of the film. Once it uploads, I'll link it in the description of my video. But anyway, so I don't know. Again, there's just some comfort knowing that, like, I got to see a movie with an old friend of mine, and well, we both agreed that, well, the movie was shit. So I guess to start off, like, again, Corey Cunningham is the main character, alright? Not Laurie Strode, not Michael Myers. It's this new kid named Corey Cunningham. And it opens up on, like, Halloween 2019, where he's babysitting a kid. And because, like, the kid is the most obnoxious little shit that I've ever really seen in recent movies, like, the kid locks Corey, like, in the attic, and, like, Corey basically has, like, a panic attack or something. He kicks the door down, which causes the little kid to fall off the balcony and break his neck, basically. Well, you know, the parents are horrified, get him arrested. Boom, title card to Halloween Ends. Which I will admit, it is a nice touch that, like, the Halloween Ends text, it does have that, like, old 1970s, like, gritty font feel. And the opening sequence of, like, the pumpkins, like, literally bursting out of each other, that's pretty cool. But, like, that's the only cool scene, like, for a long time. Because then it cuts to, like, Laurie Strode having a narration with flashbacks to the 1978 film, which, again, also a nice touch for them to, like, use archive footage with the film grain in it, you know? But basically it opens up with Laurie Strode like writing a memoir or something about Michael Myers, the boogeyman, and how like how after the events of Halloween Kills, after Michael killed her daughter Karen, she's tried to move on with her life, right? So now she's writing a book about how like the evil consumed her. Well, so it keeps cutting away from like Laurie to Allison, who now works at Haddonfield Memorial, to Corey. So like Laurie's going out, like just trying to be a grandmother to Allison, like basically be the mother that she wasn't to her own daughter Karen, basically. Allison is like working at Haddonfield Memorial, has like a shitty boss, who basically performs like quid pro quo with this other nurse, who's basically one of those like ditzy idiots. Corey is basically shunned by the entire community. I will admit there is a nice running theme with the movie where like basically everyone took Laurie Strode's victim status and like made it all about them. Like I think that was a nice little I think out of like usually in horror movies, well, movies in general, like they have this kind of like underlying message or like subplot, and out of all the ones I've seen in a while, I think this one is kind of nice where like basically people take victim stories and like they twist it into making it about them, which people do in real life now. So that was kind of nice. What wasn't nice was again, this is why I said spoilers. So you guys remember in Halloween Kills that one death where Michael like destroyed like a light bulb and stuck it in that like old lady's neck? Yeah, apparently she survived. And like she can't even speak anymore. She shows up for a little cameo while her sister berates Laurie and like blames her for Michael's killings. And like again with that whole message, like it also delves into like victim blaming and all that kind of crap. So all that's happening. Oh, by the way, Laurie's like seeing Frank from time to time. Like they meet up in a grocery store, have a couple jokes. I mean, Corey is being shunned by the community. He meets Laurie. Laurie sticks up for him. Eventually, like these high school bullies, by the way. One night they just beat Corey, send him over a bridge. And then like Corey gets dragged into a sewer where he meets like old man Michael Myers. And like apparently Corey looks into Michael's black eyes, and like the evil gets transferred from Michael into him. I'm not even kidding. Like this is what my friend Horror Aesthetics even said. Like it's like they were trying to do like supernatural possession or whatever, even though the writers and director even said that there's nothing supernatural about Michael Myers in this timeline. So, whatever. Corey sees Michael, looks into his eyes, lets the evil consume him. And then Corey just starts dating Allison, because, you know, Laurie introduced him. By the way, if I accidentally say Laurie or Corey, that's my fault, because they sound so similar. I don't know, it's late, alright? I need to get to bed. Anyway, so Laurie and Corey are dating. Eventually they have sex. They go to a bar. Corey sees like the mother of that one child that died because of like an accident. The one from the opening. She berates him. Corey gets shunned even more. He leaves. He goes to see Michael for some reason. Really, this whole movie is a blur, because let's be honest, like, there's nothing. There's really nothing worthwhile in this movie. Like, I mean, at one point, like, Corey lures this one cop into the sewers with him. Which, by the way, the cop is named Mulaney, so I'm assuming that was one of the Mulaney kids who bullied Lonnie Elam in the opening to Halloween Kills. I mean, I don't know which one it was. I don't know, maybe it was the one who, like, yelled at Lonnie, like, that's what happens when you fuck with the Mulaney's. That one. I don't know. But anyway, so, I kid you not, Corey and Michael tag team that Mulaney cop. Like, seriously, like, Michael slashes him, then Corey punches him. Corey puts him in a headlock and holds him down while Michael starts stabbing him. And at one point, like, Michael stops while he's trying to stab him, like, and his body just starts shaking. And for a minute, I actually thought that, like, Michael was gonna die of a freaking heart attack. Because I honestly would not put it past the writers at that point in the movie. Because, let's be honest, so, I guess to put this into context, it takes about half hour, 45 minutes for us to actually see Michael Myers again, right? And all he does is grab Corey by the throat, Corey looks him in the eyes, and then Michael lets him go. That's what happens. And then about 20 or so minutes later, Michael gets his first kill on that Mulaney cop, who was also hitting on Allison, like, throughout the film. So, it takes about 45 minutes, 50 minutes for Michael to actually show up in what's supposed to be his own movie. And that takes about an hour or so for him to actually start killing again. So, you know, at this point, like, Corey is basically Michael's accomplice at this point. And his little killer mask is, like, he dresses up as a freaking scarecrow. At least for, like, the first time that he goes out killing people. Which, he kills that one doctor that Allison works for, and then Michael kills, like, the ditzy nurse who was screwing the doctor. Sorry, Michael is the one who kills that nurse, which I will admit, like, it is pretty cool that he killed her the same way he killed, the kid with the glasses in the very first movie, where he uses his knife to literally pin her to the wall. That was pretty cool, I guess. But I don't know, at some point after that, like, Corey just wants to run away with Allison to go somewhere. They just want to leave Haddonfield. Lori correctly guesses that, like, the evil got transferred into Corey somehow. Again, they said that, like, that Michael Myers ain't supernatural, but, you know, and they go and do this. Whatever. Corey realizes that Lori doesn't want them to be together, so he goes to Michael Myers in the sewer, gets into basically a shoving match with Michael Myers, and then takes his mask. And then Corey just goes out, kills the bullies, kills his mother, who, by the way, is like one of those overprotective else? Who else does he kill? Oh yeah, he kills this one DJ guy who's a bit of an asshole, which, by the way, I don't understand why they had such a fixation on the radio tower. If it was just to set up that one kill, then I don't like it. Like, they used like the DJ guy in like the opening logos, which I don't understand. Like, that took me out of the movie before it even started. But fine, fuck it. So, God. So, Corey, wearing Michael Myers' mask, he kills the bullies, and by the way, he uses a freaking truck to run one of them over. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that not even Michael freaking Myers, even when he was driving a car, I don't think Michael Myers ever used a car to run somebody over. Like, in the opening, the deputy, Frank Hawkins, from the first two films, like, he was inspecting these bodies with gunshot wounds, and, like, a cop suggested that it was Michael, and Frank said that, like, no, Michael doesn't use guns. Well, he doesn't use a truck to run people over either. And, yeah, I get it, sure, it was Corey, not Michael, but you know what? He was emulating Michael. So whatever. He kills those people. If there's any more bodies, I can't remember. I don't care. I don't care about Corey. Really, I don't. I don't even care about Laurie Strode much in this movie, to be honest. But yeah, eventually he goes to Laurie's house. Laurie pretends to commit suicide. By the way, there are a couple shots where they show, like, Corey's POV, which, like, I don't care about. Like, I've said before, I'll say it again, like, I don't like that they showed Michael's point of view in the very first movie, because to me that's not scary. And it's even less scary knowing that it's not even Michael in this film, it's Corey doing the killings. So Laurie has a very brief fight with him. Like, she shoots him twice. Not 6 times, just twice. Pushes him over a balcony or whatever. Like, you know, takes off his mask. Berates him for, like, thinking he could ever be with Allison. That's when they realize that Allison is coming home. And Corey kills himself. And then frames Laurie, which, I will admit, that was an interesting scene. Like, Laurie getting framed for murder. Too bad they never actually did anything with it. Because then the real Michael Myers shows up, snaps Corey's neck, and then they have probably the most entertaining scene in the movie for me, which is when Laurie and Michael, like, basically have a fist fight in her house. Which, I did not think that anyone could ever make, like, a fist fight between two geriatric 70-year-olds look good, but you know what? This movie did it for me. So props to that, I guess. Like, the fight was actually kind of pretty fun to watch. But whatever. Obviously, Laurie triumphs. She pins Michael down with 2 knives and a freaking refrigerator on his lower body. And then she stabs him in the chest. Somehow he's still alive. So she's actually about ready to let him kill her when Allison just comes into the house and, like, literally breaks his freaking arm. I'm pretty sure it takes a lot more strength than what Allison used to break a guy's arm, or maybe it's just because of how old he is, I don't know, but, like, she snapped it like a twig. Anyway, so, you know, just as the police arrive, Laurie slashes his throat and then, like, slashes at least one of his wrists, so he bleeds out. The cops, like Frank, and oh yeah, Frank Hawkins and Sheriff Barker, they show up. They see that, like, Michael Myers is dead. So then, like, they chain his body to the roof of one of the squad cars and then drive him down to, like, the junkyard that Corey worked at. Like, it's like it's a goddamn parade. Like, they drove their car through the town like some weird, macabre, morbid parade. And then, like, they bring him to this, like sort of like trash compactor, basically. Like one of those, like, machines or whatever that, like, grinds up, like, pieces of cars into scrap. And, like, Laurie pushes his body in, which is, like, the second best scene of the movie for me. Where, like, you know, they actually showed Michael Myers' body, like, get crushed to smithereens. And the only reason why that's the second best scene for me is just because of, like, whatever practical effects they used on it was just so freaking gnarly. They showed the entire body get crushed. They showed, like, the head and skull just, like, bust open. Like, it actually reminded me a little bit of Terrifier. Terrifier 2, I mean. Especially with that opening kill where, like, where Art the Clown, like, just rips open a dude's skull to reveal his brain. Yeah, that, I mean, Michael Myers' full death actually kind of reminded me of that a little bit. I mean, it had a little bit more finesse. Like, it wasn't, like, weirdly enough, it wasn't as gory as those kill scenes, but, like, it was still a very good definitive end to Michael Myers. But, so, those were the only real two good scenes of the entire film. After that, Laurie finishes her memoir, narrating the film. Allison leaves Haddonfield, probably going to Mexico, like Laurie suggested in the first film. Jeez. Oh yeah, and then Laurie just meets up with Frank, and, like, they just talk about seeing cherry blossoms. Meanwhile, Laurie keeps Michael's mask, and then the movie just ends. Has, like, that little fairy tale ending. Cool. So, I don't know. If you guys remember back when I made a review of Halloween Kills and how that movie frustrated me, and I put it like this, where Halloween 2018 was like the Force Awakens of basically the horror franchise, and Halloween Kills was like the Last Jedi. Well, I was prepared to say that Halloween Ends would be like the Rise of Skywalker. But believe it or not, it's actually worse than that. Like, so in the Rise of Skywalker, like, they walked back a lot of things with that movie where, like, I mean, you know, Rey's parents weren't important, but, like, they walked it back that she was nobody because they revealed, like, oh shit, she's a Palpatine. Or, oh shit, Luke Skywalker was wrong in The Last Jedi. Which, to be fair, like, Rian Johnson basically threw away everything that J.J. Abrams planned. So J.J. had to, like, course correct by the time he made Rise of Skywalker. So I will give him that he had to overcorrect, because he had no choice at that point. And I guess you could say that, like, they did walk a few things back in Halloween Ends, where, like, you know, Laurie tried to move past Michael, but, like, obviously she couldn't. They did keep the fact that, like, technically he has no motive, like, Michael Myers has no motive, which, again, works, but again, with that whole thing about, like, Corey Cunningham becoming evil just from looking in Michael Myers' eyes, like, it feels like they walked back that whole thing about Michael Myers not being supernatural. Like, seriously, in the span of all three of those movies, they flip-flopped on Michael Myers being just a man to supernatural to, again, he transcends evil. And literally at the end of the movie, when Laurie finally gets the upper hand on Michael, she says to him like, "Oh, you're not evil. You're not evil. You're just a man. Make up your mind, for God's sake." So there's that. And then I guess, like, in essence of both Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, they did also walk back the whole thing about how it feels like they might have oversaturated Halloween Kills with, like, the body count, which, like, the body count even wasn't that high if you actually look at the featurette that counts the deaths. But when I was watching this film with my friend, it seemed like they decided to overcorrect it and, like, tone down the body count to the point where, like, once again, and I'm using this in the title, I already said that, but, like, once again, like, this is worse than being the Rise of Skywalker of horror films. This is basically CW Fanfiction that guest stars Michael Myers. The dude only gets 3 kills in the entire movie. Corey Cunningham gets a higher body count than Michael fucking Myers. Like, seriously. They spend way too much time on, like, the whole romantic subplot, which is basically the main plot. It's not even a subplot. The subplot is Michael Myers. Michael Myers isn't the star of his own, of what's supposed to be his own movie. And, like, it's funny, you got the poster that shows Michael Myers and Laurie Strode basically standing side by side, where it kind of looks like an MCU poster, sort of. And, like, Michael Myers is barely in the movie. Alright? He doesn't show up until it's almost halfway over. He doesn't get his first kill until about 2/3 of the way in. Like, the main villain is basically Corey Cunningham. Like, this random kid. Laurie Strode, like, just doesn't do much in this film until, like, the final 20 minutes. I don't know, it feels like they wanted to do, like, a story. It feels like they wanted to do, like a romantic film with some horror elements in it, but they knew that that if they set it on its own, it would be shit. So they slapped the Halloween title on it, and then weaved Michael Myers into what's basically, like, 20 to 30 minutes. God, this movie just pissed me off. Like, it doesn't make my worst films of all time, but it definitely, it's definitely part of my list of disappointing. But, yeah. I will give them credit for trying something different. It just didn't work out. Like, you got movies like the Chucky series, Friday the 13th, even Rob Zombie's films that tried something different. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I will give them credit for trying something new and different. But this just wasn't a Halloween film. Alright, it wasn't. So, if you watch the trailers and you think that Michael Myers is, like, the central antagonist, he's not. It's some random ass kid who's a wannabe Michael Myers. I will give credit to the trailer, though, where, like, they really hid the fact that, like, Corey Cunningham would basically be the main villain. because again, he gets more kills than Michael Myers in this movie. Also, one thing that did make me wary of this film from the start was when the writer and director said that, like, this movie would be talking about, like, peculiar politics, as they called it, as well as, like, delving into COVID, which, thankfully, they walked back on that one, because, let's be honest, when they were talking about politics, and, like, with Laurie Strode talking about how, Jamie Lee Curtis, talking about how, like, the riots in Halloween Kills were kind of like the ones that are technically still going on now. Like, I was really worried, because, like, what do politics have to do with Michael Myers? What does COVID have to do with Michael Myers? Unless, if COVID was what killed him. So I'm glad they didn't do that. Again, I honestly thought that they were gonna have Michael die of a fucking heart attack during, like, in the middle of his first kill scene. God. I don't know. Yeah. This movie just pisses me off. And frankly, I need to go to bed. So that's it for me. If you like horror movies, I guess check this one out. If you're a hardcore fan of Halloween and Michael Myers, and, like, you want to see Laurie Strode and Michael fight, like, if you want to see that final 10 minutes of them just literally beating the shit out of each other, like, go ahead and give this one a whirl. But if you want to see Michael fuck people up, then you're gonna be sorely disappointed. Like, I'm not even like a super fan of the Halloween series. Like, I've only seen the original, the 2018 reboot, Kills, this one, and the Rob Zombie films. And you know what? The Rob Zombie movies are the ones that I always go back to, because I know what I want when I see a Michael Myers movie. I want to see him kill people. That's just who I am. But if you're like me and you want to see Michael kill people in brutal and gory ways, then you're gonna be sorely disappointed by this film, because this is more like a CW show like Riverdale than anything Halloween. So I guess to wrap this all up, sure, if you want to see romance in your horror movie, have at it. And hopefully I find some way to, like, better cleanse my palate, because this movie was just ridiculous.